I think. Welcome, friends, family, whānau, and strangers. My name is Emma G. Welcome back to another Real Talk with me. Today, I am getting super jealous of my friend all the way over in New Zealand. It's supposed to be winter, but you're by the beach and it looks sunny and beautiful, and a flash thunderstorm has just rushed through here. But King Kapisi, how's it going, bro?
I'm doing not too bad. As you can see here, it's very, very nice day here in Pai here, New Zealand, Aotearoa. And basically, I went for a swim this morning. It was a bit cold, but it was well worth the invigorating, chill. And
Yeah.
it's great to be here with you, sis. And this is where we come from, eh? So we're from here, and you're over there, and so this is everyone. This is what Aotearoa looks like in some places.
I love it because I wear my koro, my bone carving with me all the time when I'm here in the States, and every time anybody, especially little kids, see it now, they're instantly Moana, Moana. I'm like, yeah, this is where we come from. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you're in Paihia now. How long have you been in Paihia for?
I've been in Pai here for about 2 days. We've just been here for a tangi. A tangi is basically the indigenous word here for a funeral. But as you know, things happen, and that's life. We must celebrate why we're here and when we're here. So all I say is, live your life to the fullest and make sure that you try and tell other people that you love them and you appreciate them, and appreciate the work that you're doing. You too. You are a pioneer for us going over as being a Pacific Islander over in the in the big wide world, and we appreciate you.
I mean, I appreciate you. It's surreal to me, and I hope it doesn't sound weird, but it's surreal to me having grown up listening to your music, and being inspired by your cause and your dreams and your ambition and your drive, because you work so fucking hard, to then now not only be able to call you a friend and a mentor, but you're still fighting the good fight and doing all the things for us Pacifica people. It's always such a blessing to be in your presence, whether it's in person or on the phone with me crying, going, King, what do I do? Ah. Which I've done a couple of times,
But it's hard out there. It's hard out there, and that's why I understand the struggle that you go through every single time. I've been on the world tour, the world circuit, and I've been by myself. And, and I understand what it's like as a musician to be able to go around and make sure that we're all right. And it's a very difficult thing to go out and take our music out to the world, because it takes guts and it takes balls to be able to do that, because not everyone can do it. Not everyone has done it. And a lot of people do it.
Yeah. I mean, and we both know that I definitely have balls. That's that.
Oh, hey, you got guts. You got guts. So that's the thing I love about you, is just go and you go. But within our cultures, within our Pacific cultures, it's sort of very not used to just go, and very family orientated. And then so how do we make sure that we teach our youngins, our youth, our next generation, that it's all right to go out and search and travel the world and go outside of our area?
Yeah, for sure. So for those who obviously I'm now living in the States, and you've got quite a reputation here. A lot of people know you specifically in the Pacifica, California and Hawaii and, so on and so forth. But for those who don't know you, I mean, I refer to you as New Zealand hip hop royalty. How do you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as a Pacific Islander, and people were like, "What's a Pacific Islander?" A Pacific Islander is basically a bunch of people that's from some small islands in the middle of the South Pacific. And I'm Samoan. The way they say it over in the States is Samoan. I'm Samoan. Probably export from Samoa or New Zealand would be the rock at this particular time. So sort of, the same place where the rock comes from, that's where we come from. And so it's, who else is, well-known Samoans? There are some other well-known Samoans, probably most in the WWF or the WWE. When I'm thinking about Samoans that are known worldwide. But I'm just a brother that has tried to make it with music from our side of the world. And remembering that Aotearoa, the South Pacific, New Zealand, where we're from, is nearly the next, island straight after is, further down is Antarctica. It's either one of them. I don't know if it's the North Pole or the South Pole. Like, we're right next to the ice. So I'm just a brother that is for the last 25 years or 30 years tried to take my music around the world, and now out of necessity, I've entered into the marketing. I'm an award-winning songwriter for our country, which is very unusual for our country because rap music, when I won this award I think it was in 2003, so that's a long time ago. And it was the first rap award that won this particular award, and from our country, it was very unattainable, those type of goals. And so, we're breaking barriers for younger generations to be able to say, listen, if Pacific Island has done that, then we can do it again. And that's what I'm all about, being able to say, hey, let's give it a go. Don't be scared, and try your hardest. And, the cool thing is that if we feel like it, sometimes you want to come home, you can always just come home. But then go out again and then try again. It's like, that's what we have to do. I think as human beings, we have to learn to be empathetic, sympathetic to all other people's cultures, but also cultures you don't know. And if you don't understand it, go and research it. And so, and that's a big thing for me. It's like, the indigenous people in our country is Aotearoa. You're from Fiji. I'm from Samoa, but we're born in Aotearoa, which is New Zealand. And being a firm believer in indigenous rights, having traveled around the world more often, and just going around and seeing different things, it just opens up your eyes to the good and the bad. And just, I can say to anyone that's watching this podcast is make sure before we make judgments on others, your shit better be, all nice and tidy in your backyard. And that's the thing.
Smell like roses.
Well, yeah, because you know what I mean? I think that's the hardest thing is that, we're human beings are just judgmental. And I understand that. But let's make sure that before we make a judgment on any particular person or culture or race or color or creed, make sure that you know what you're talking about. On the web, you can say anything these days. We got keyboard warriors. We got, I don't know, we've got all types of, angry type of people. But I don't mind people being angry, but also making sure that one thing that was really, really interesting for me in as a rapper, rap music is quite negative, and let's go battle or just but even the hip hop culture, you will go battle someone, but hopefully at the end you'll go shake their hand and go, hey man, that was a good battle, whoa, woo. Some people take it to the next level, but at the same time, that if you're going to go burn something down, you better be ready to rebuild it. Right. So that's a new sort of of outlook that I have, because rap culture, man, burn it, burn everything down and blah blah blah. But then at the same time, someone said, yeah, but are you ready to rebuild it? Right. And that's the one of, and excuse me because my camera just went off, and I'm just going to plug in my phone.
No worries. So I love that you've already dove into your because as a hip hop artist, I think one of the beautiful things about hip hop is obviously how politically driven it can be. But I think one of the things that's unique about New Zealand hip hop and Pasifika hip hop as well is the ability to have the worldview, like a wider worldview when it comes to, talking about poverty or talking about struggle or talking about, coming out of, starting from the bottom and now we're here type thing. For your own journey, are you what has been the highlight or the most amazing kind of incredible achievement that you've made, knowing that you're Samoan representing a genre that is very sought after in every ethnicity. But you've won awards for songwriting. You've hit various charts. You've toured the world. You make all your music videos yourself. You run all of your merch yourself. Like, you do all the things. What has been the most like kind of rewarding part for you?
I think the most for me as a rap artist, if you just had to say just on the rap buzz, just rap music. When I went to New York, went to the home of hip hop, to the Bronx, to Crotona Park, and I was rapping, did a gig at Crotona Park, and everyone said, listen, this is where hip hop started. This is the area where, hip hop music, had begun, and did my gig, got off stage, and people were like, yo, man, we like you, you're dope, and I got to meet, Kool Herc and some of the originators of hip hop. And for me, I could have retired at that time. I said, okay, I'm good now. I've been to where it all started, and they like me, and I'm cool now. I was very satisfied. I was very satisfied because, like, if you can go to the home of where it began and then get accepted by those guys, I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And so I got to say that was probably one of my most favorite times. But also, I think because I've been rapping for so long, I've been rapping for over like 33 years now, 33 years of rapping. That's a long time to be rapping. So I feel very, very sort of responsible for just some things within hip hop. Like I go, okay, we made some changes. We set out to do some goals, and 23 years later, it worked. And that's the thing where now I go, we're back in the day. When I started some of these songs, I was like, man, I'm gonna change some people's minds. I wanna put out a message. And now that I can look back and my album's 20 years old, it actually worked. And that's one of the crazy things. I go, okay, sure, it worked. 20 years later, I'm an atheist. Very glad to meet you. And it's just one of those things. As Pacific Islanders, there's not many atheists, and so I go, that's cool. But I'm very respectful to everyone's whatever anyone believes, and just being able to find other people who said, hey, bro, I felt this particular way, and I wanted to say it, but I felt so uncomfortable saying it that I didn't say it. And so, just with meeting other people and just being able to inspire other people is pretty cool. And so that was 20 years ago when I released my first album. So I can look now at this particular time and go, okay, I've got another 20 years worth of music at least. So how can I still make it change? Because those ideas or theories of will it work, it actually worked. So now I go, okay, let's just repeat the process again and just keep on putting out good messages for, just people in general, but also Pacific Islanders and young, people from down in our area.
Yeah, for sure. I'm fascinated because I actually didn't, considering how long I've known you, I had no idea that you're an atheist. But it all kind of makes sense now. Because as Pacifica people, we're as people of color, I feel that there's a huge community of predominantly Christian faith that's moving a lot into the Muslim faith a lot now too. But the reason I bring that up is, like, was that part of your messaging when you started as a hip hop artist, was to like sort of talk about equality of faith or spirituality beyond?
So the first single I ever released, Subcranium Feeling, was basically Subcranium Feeling, basically talking about things that I thought, just subcranium and then subcranium, don't really talk about them, but it was a feeling, and these were the feelings. So my first lyrics on my first song that I released, my third eye sees regressing attitudes from colonists, slow motion U-turns, opinions of devils. They frown upon us, looks of disgust, thought a savage, stench over powers, but the king's gonna manage. Snake words of comfort used by missionaries so that armies bought the Union Jack, circles of gold, halos of jewels, with no decency expelled my petal, dormant voice of fury, on the rebound comes this rebel. So straight away, the very first lyrics that I wrote, and it was basically on the first song on my album, Fix Amnesia, Polynesia, Been trapped in this damn game. For this, I feel ashamed. Fix amnesia, Polynesia. So basically, I'm just saying that what makes their God better than our 48 gods?
Right.
And so, like I was always on the buzz where I said, hey, I went to church. Like most Pacific Islanders, we went to church. But then when I started researching how religion came to the Pacific Islands, I was like, oh, hey, hold up. So if we didn't go to church, they'd rub feces on our bodies and all that type of stuff. And if we didn't go to church, they'd beat us. Mm-hmm. So basically some more, sort of oppression type of things. And I thought to myself, and then, found out and researched that the missionaries came from England, and this is our this is what we're going to do. This is our state of, of intent. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, when I read their, what they were going to do, their mission statement, I was like, okay, basically they're coming to just conquer us. Mm-hmm. Well, so I understand that, and I go, okay, cool. But at the same time, why can't we, as generations after or new generations of Pacific Islanders, why can't we say, no, I don't believe in you, mate. That's not my buzz, and I repel you and go back to to however your train of thought was happening. And why is your white Jesus better than my 48 Pacific Island gods? And so, I don't believe, I don't believe in particular spiritual things, but what I do believe in, I believe in family, and I also believe in just being good or being nice, and there's a lot of people that are unnice out there. And the one thing that, like, I've been, a lot of people, like, over the years, 23 years, my cousin held out the phone, hey, cuz, listen to this, at church. And then the pastor was saying, King Kapisi is the devil. King Kapisi is the devil. And so I've had, times where I met Samoans around the world. Why are you dissing our culture? Why are you dissing our culture? I said, what do you mean? And he goes, we believe in God. Samoans believe in God. And I said, yeah, but I'm Samoan. And so you're saying that I'm not Samoan because I don't believe in God? Right. And so, yeah, that's the weird thing, like when religion starts becoming culture. And I was like, oh, guys, listen, we had culture way before Jesus arrived in the Pacific Islands. And then when you learn the history of when religion hit Samoa or the islands, I just go, oh, hell no. I'm like, it happened, but I'm still like, oh, no, hell no. That's, it's not normal for people to say no. And I'm all right with saying no.
And I think this is one of the things that makes you, one of the unicorns of Aotearoa is, your steadfastness to be like, actually, nah, I'm good.
All right. Just remembering to majority of the watchers out there that 99.5 or 99% of Pacific Islanders all around the world, or just even around the world, are all Christian, or else they're, Catholic, or so I am the one, there's only a few of us that openly say, I don't believe in God. And, the one thing that I keep on saying is, like, if you believe in God, why are you judging me? Because you're, and then just there's so many, good things and bad things. The good things I love is that it brings the community together, and I love that. And also the other thing I really love about the melodies, beautiful melodies in the church, everyone singing, woo! That's one of the most favorite things I love about, church and religion. But there's just the thing I don't like is, like, back in the day, you believe in me, and if you don't, I'm gonna kill you. I'm like, what? Oh, come on now. There's no for free thinking. And go back to the Crusades in England. You better believe in my religion, or else I want to kill you. Great, that's awesome. That's the wickedest, the awesomest way to make people believe in your religion, because I want to kill you. So I don't know. That's just my particular,
No, I appreciate it. It's always interesting and fascinating. I mean, I was raised going to different places of faith to figure out what what they believed in. Obviously my family lineage is varied from Muslim through to ancient Indian through to Jehovah Witness and Methodist and all kinds of things. And so I'm always really I enjoy conversation that is open and honest and clear about where you come from. I appreciate it. On that whole note of colonialism, one of the things that like really struck in my mind recently, since keeping up to what's happening over on stuff.co.nz, is the recent resurgence, or the recent, I guess, uprising of how New Zealand is showing up for the Black Lives Matter movement, and the subsequent taking down of various statues and monuments around Aotearoa, which obviously we're doing over here in the States, but I wasn't expecting it to happen, worldwide. How is that going for you?
For me personally, like I've heard of a couple of, Hamilton is one of the cities that they've basically gone and said, hey, listen, we don't like this guy. He was a bit of a racist guy. And then we're going to, potentially change the name back to, the original Maori name, which is Maori. So that's what they do with that. And for me, I go, yay, because a lot of this stuff, I think for me, the Black Lives Matter movement is something that's always been there, but with what's happening, around the world, and especially in the States, it's brought every problem right here. So you can't sort of look around. You're like, okay, you can't. It's sort of there, and what? You can't just meander around it. You sort of like, you have to address it, and it's been unaddressed for so long that now people are getting checked. And that's the thing that I think that in countries like the States, I mean, full shivers, I think with any person not of color that has been born in the States, there's, you could just ask like how would you say it, like a white person over there, has your people been oppressed in your family or your generations or your lineage or your ancestors? Have they ever been slaves? And that's one question. You say, hey, has your family ever been slaves? And they probably go, no. I said, well, there you go, mate. You know what I mean? It's very, very simple for me. I go, if your family or your people at some stage of your ancestors' lives have been slaves, well, then obviously you're going to start at a position where it's not the same as the person that hasn't.
Yeah.
And it's just stuff happening here in Aotearoa. Of course, there's been racism, and it's very underlying. But these, once again, is just bringing those particular topics up to here you go. And I think it's a beautiful thing, because there is, if we can equalize if we can equalize the value of a black life to a white life and making them exactly the same, well, then the world's going to be a better place. And that hasn't happened for millennia. So if it's happening now, yay, because it's about time. And I'm happy that we're here to be able to see it. But it will also show other peoples who haven't been slaves, because it's quite interesting down here in where we're from, here in New Zealand. Us Pacific Islanders, blackbirding, they basically came and took us from down here in the Pacific Islands and took us around the world and did exactly the same thing. So we've had slavery in our Pacific, culture as well. And so, I understand. And then I also, because I've been to the States, I also understand the levels of generations of depravity, and also, just not having the same rights or the same opportunities that other people have. And I think that, like I said at the beginning, if you're more sympathetic and you're more empathetic, and you care just a little bit more, you go, oh, sure, I didn't know that. So you understand just a little bit more. That's going to be a bit better for the world, because there's going to be more understanding.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is what I'm going to say too, Em, like down in our country, people who are watching, our guns are not legal. So we don't carry guns around. There's no right to have a gun just walking around.
Yeah.
And so our police don't carry guns on them. So what has to happen, that if something happens where a police officer needs a gun, they have to run to the back of their car, open up the boot, unlock it, and then grab the firearm. And that's the big difference between us over here, you know, in the South Pacific, where overseas, you have a gun ready on your hip. The police are just ready to, woohoo. It's like very, very different from here. And also, we don't have a rule where you have a right to bear arms. So, you know, when I went to Texas one time and just people had guns in the back of their truck, I was like, yo, is that normal? And they were like, yeah, that's normal. I was like, okay, you know, it's not like what we, you know, how it is down here. And so, you know, there's just a lot more issues that the states, you know, side of people have to deal with that we don't deal with here in New Zealand. It's a little bit more safer. It's you know, we don't have to worry about getting shot by police consistently every day when we walk out of our house. Where I've seen that, you know, when you walk out of your house in the States, and if you're black, there's an issue that potentially you might not come home because, you know, a policeman might get a bit, you know, twitchy, and then you won't make it home. Or just even just a person who's in the public, you know, might have a gun and go, oh, well, that guy's looks like he's robbing someone, and let's just chase him and you know, and follow him with our firearms. And if he starts to run, we're going to shoot him. And that does not happen here in New Zealand. So we're very lucky, but also I feel for our brothers and sisters around the world that have had that inequality, that they just get judged by the color of their skin straight away.
It's been a rude awakening, you know, living in a country as a brown woman has been, yeah, just eye-opening.
Yeah. Oh. It's like, you know, if we went to the store or to the shop, we call it a shop. If we went to the shop to go get some milk, if there's a possibility of getting stopped by a police officer or someone, when you got your hoodie on, you know, you wear your hoodie because we call it a hoodie. I don't know if they call it a hoodie, like you put a hoodie on, and because it's cold, you know what I mean? You want your head to be warm. If there's an opportunity to potentially walk down to the store and get, you know, stopped or pulled over or shot or something just because you're wearing a hoodie. Or there was another story when the guy was just going for a run. You know what I mean? He was just going for a jog, and then he got shot. That does not happen down here in New Zealand. And so when we see that stuff, we're like, oh, yo, would I rather live here in New Zealand where that doesn't happen, or would I rather live in the States? And personally, I love you, sis, but you know, I don't know about living over there because there's just things that are normal over there that are abnormal as fuck over here. So, you know, it's a little bit safer. Our babies are not going to go down the road or walk down or get shot by, you know, there are very, very few compared to the amounts of gang violence in the States. New Zealand is winning.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like everybody back in, you know, everybody here looks at what we're doing in New Zealand and is like, why are you here? Right? Why are you here in DC of all places?
Yes, I asked you the question too. But I understand. But then also because, but then at the same time, I go, well, I don't know. You know, the one thing is too is that with us, we're gonna go give our shot, or we're gonna give it our best shot. And then if you go, listen, well, it didn't work, but I can always come home. You know what I mean? And that's what I respect with what you do is like, oh, I want to go give it a go. And then because you're giving it a go, you're breaking the mold of what normal Pacific Islanders do. Of course, we have other Pacific Islanders. So let's explain. Okay, so from our little Pacific Islands of Fiji, or of Tonga, of Samoa, you guys can all look it up. When we left our countries, we had two options to go to two places. And so that was the only two places we could go to back in the 60s and the 70s and maybe even the 50s. 50s would have been boats. Later on in the 70s was planes. So we could either go to LA or we could go to Auckland. So Auckland's in New Zealand. So we either had the chance to go to either Los Angeles or to Auckland, New Zealand. And some of our family went to Los Angeles and ended up living there. So that's why we have so many Pacific Islanders in Los Angeles. And so, you know, and the other half of the family came to Auckland, New Zealand. So we have whole families that, you know, sort of made the decision to either go to New Zealand or go to LA. So, you know, I've met a lot of our of our family, of our counterparts. I call them counterparts. The Samoans that have gone to a different place, and through our music have met up with a lot, and a lot of us keep our culture, but also we end up adopting the culture of stateside. And I went to do this gig in San Francisco, and it was interesting for me because like I said, hey, never been to San Francisco, and a lot of Samoans and Islanders came and came to Tautoko. They came to support. I was like, oh sweet, and I said, okay, Randy, random question, because a Kiwi guy, because we don't have guns here, and I just said, hey, there's about 30 guys, and I said, hey, random question, boys. It was like, how many of you guys have guns? And they were like, we all got guns, man, and I was like, okay, because I didn't know the answer. I was just asking a question because I didn't know the answer. And then I go, okay, so boys, because in New Zealand we don't have guns, and I had to ask them, so why do you have guns? And and they were like, well, basically, if someone shoots at you, and I was like, yeah, and he goes, you want to be able to shoot back, and I was like, true, that's very, very logical, So it was interesting, because we don't. It's very different because everyone can speak, but Samoan and still converse in Samoan, but it's just that with that gun factor was the thing that was so foreign to us here in New Zealand. And I said, okay, now I understand. Someone's going to shoot at you. You obviously want to shoot back. And I said, sweet, okay, cool. That answered that question.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I think as much as, let me rephrase this. Part of why I think this BLM movement has picked up so much steam, specifically in the last couple of months, has been around the fact that we're in a pandemic at the moment. So we really had to confront, our just how messed up things are at the moment in this country. Obviously, New Zealand has also gone through the pandemic, and on a if we were to factor in the different populations, there certainly was a great percentage of deaths that happened, and a great percentage of people who were infected in New Zealand. However, the Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has now dealt with the pandemic. She's now dealt with the terrorist attack on the mosque in Christchurch. There have been a number of things that have gone on in New Zealand, and for better or worse, you guys have kind of come out of it bigger and brighter than most every other country in the world. What are your thoughts on that, and how has that affected your personal creative journey, specifically as an artist or as somebody who is a champion of people's messages and people's rights?
Well, I work from home, so my studio, my music studio, my television studio is at home. So I'm able to. I was able to build something over the COVID times where I started some live streams, and now I've got 2 musical shows, and then I've got a basketball show which I do later on tonight. And so, but we've had 500,000 live streams from those 3 shows over the last 10 weeks. And from this side, those type of numbers are not bad. We've only got 4.8 million people in our country, so 500,000 live streams is not too bad over those times. Because I work from home, I was fine. I was like, yay, and I got to just finishing off some of the work that I really needed to do. But also having my family at home for so long was, got to reconnect with my sons and my wife again. And because, our focus is so work driven, is that you can really, really lose the reason why we work. And so to be able to reconnect with my family was great. Love that. That was awesome. Being also, learning how to cook, being able to, to learn how to do different things, because with the live stream, basically someone gifted me, or just said, hey, listen, not gifted, but loaned me a TV studio. And so I've been learning how to produce sort of all those type of things, and that's been an awesome learning curve for me. But I think that with what's happened here is that we've had maybe, I think it's under 1,000 deaths. I think it's under 500 deaths that we've had here, or people that passed away from COVID. And so it was a very minimal amount compared to other places or other countries. I heard some numbers yesterday that was coming from the States. There's like crazy amounts of people that have passed. And I don't know, it's, I don't want to talk on Mr. Trump, but, I don't want to talk on governments. But just me personally, I just think that guy's a muppet. I just think, I go, wow. And because, it's like when you see him on a television series and he's saying, yes, no, you can make it into, and I go, I understand that's a television series. But for me personally, when your job is to run, one of the superpowers of the world, you should be pretty clever and be pretty onto it, but also be super sympathetic and empathetic to the normal person who is not a millionaire, who's not a billionaire, but also just the normal person who is struggling to put bread and butter and milk on their tables. And that's the thing that I think that is what happens is when you have a businessman that is in power that has actually forgotten what it's like to struggle.
Yeah. Yeah, 1000%.
If he was sorry, love. If he was a person of the peoples, if he was a real champion of the peoples, he would go from the people who are on the street level, who are on the streets, would get the homeless out there. You know what I mean? And then also, if people are struggling just to put some bread and some milk and some butter on their table, let's give them some more milk, some more bread, and some more butter. I don't know. It's like it's so weird. I don't know. It's just it becomes such a money making merry-go-round, and I'm like, guys, but it's all right if you own the playground, which the merry-go-round is in. But what if you're just a person that can't afford to get into the playground or the the amusement park, and that's the thing that I think is the different thing. We come from a village, so on our Pacific Islands, we come from a little village, and it might be the length of 100 meters. But within our culture, we share, we give. If one, person eats, one person doesn't eat, that's not normal. Just we all eat, we all share our food. It's just how we live. But within the westernized culture, it's all about cash, money. Cash rules everything around me. I was like, yeah, but everything, I know you need cash, but also when you go back to our Pacific Islands, you can still live off the land, off the plantation. Yeah. Therefore, money, has less value. I mean, I don't know.
No, I totally agree. I think that honestly, it's been one of the beautiful things that have come out of the pandemic, at least in my community, being able to see that neighbors are coming together and sharing food and gifting things and checking in on each other and sharing phone numbers and even just saying hello. In some places, y'all don't know each other. And for this Fijian, that's just so fucking weird. Yeah, so I think that's one of the things about being from New Zealand, being from Fiji and living here that has served me. And I think that's one of the benefits of being a Pacific Island person is that I've been able to bring my values over here and be like, hey guys, just saying hey. I don't want anything. I just want you to have a great day.
I'll tell you a funny story, Em. It's like being in the States, and I saw a bunch of dudes, didn't even know them, walked up to them, and said, hey, what up, boys? And they were really standoffish. And I was like going, and they were like, where you from, man? I said, I'm from New Zealand. And we got to chatting after a while and go, hey, you know what? That's how it might happen in New Zealand. But around here, don't do that to other people. I was like, oh, that's really good to know, because like we knew that you were from somewhere else because of your accent. But normally when you approach people don't go up and say hello to people like how we do probably, hey, how you going? Hey, I'm from, my name's King. I'm from overseas. But they could only tell I was from overseas because of my accent. So they were like, the heads up, don't go and say hello to people like that because some people will take it the wrong way.
And I've had that experience. I've had people tell me that before, and I literally tell them to shut up. Like, I don't care. I'm not going to stop it. Like, the world needs love. I'm here to deliver. Like,
I'm the same. I feel the same way. You know, like we're in London. You know, and people in your space, like, you know, like you're lifting up your hand and you're on the subway and you're and someone's right in your armpit. You know what I mean? Just
yeah.
like people like in close proximity when you're on a train, and I go, "Hello, how are you?" And they just like, you know, and I go, "Oh," and I just start a conversation because I say, "Guys, we're standing here, we're probably in, you know, and I might never ever meet you before," and then they start talking, and I said, "So you guys don't talk to anyone on the train?" Like, no, and I said, "That's a boring life. So you just go from your house to work, you don't say hello to anyone, then you jump on the train and then come back, and you still don't say hello to anyone." And I was like, fuck that. I was like, I might never ever meet you again, but at least you'll know who I am.
I met some fascinating people here on that site. Like, I met a gentleman once, an elderly white guy who was one of the discoverers. Like, he was one of the on the team that discovered that the ice caps melting was a sign of global warming.
Wow.
He was one of the first people to make that connection, and super. I googled him. I was like, "Yep, he was legit." It was fat. I'm like, if we're gonna sit here and share butt space on the bus, why are we not connecting with each other? And I was like, okay, weirdo.
Like, I've jumped on first class, and you know, like on the planes, and you know, must have been a rich dude because I was just on the plane and just like going, never been first class before. And, you know, you put up the seat and and I was just playing around, eh? And I was like, "Yo, bro, this is pretty cool." And he was like, "Yeah." And then I was like, "He's not one of those dudes that want to talk, eh?" I was like, "But if you're going to be on a plane for 3 to 4 to 5 hours, you don't say hello to the person next door or just who's sitting, but sharing the same bloody elbow, you know, the seat." And I go, "Oh, come on, guys." So I always introduce myself. I think that's the polite thing to do, and just say, "Hey, it's nice to know you. Might never know you, but." Is that because we're extroverts? We're out there. Where a lot of people don't do that.
I don't know if it's extroversion, or I personally think it's a cultural thing around coming from a country, coming from many countries where we are community led, we're heart led. You know, it's our heart that leads all of our actions. You know, Clean Green New Zealand, because we want to make sure that our children grow up in a country where there's no pollution. You know, everything we do is generally driven from a place of love. And I think a lot of people just forget that because there's so much greed. So talking to people can make people think, oh, they want something from me.
Yeah, but me and you, we're that type of people that, like, because I'm well known-ish or blah 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 down here in my area, our area.
Come on, man.
You know, I go and say, like, I'm trying to build the basketball community here, and I say, "Hey, it's King Kapisi," and they're like, "Yeah, but what do you want?" I'm like, "I'm good, thank you. I'm just trying to build something." And then, you know, and then until you have a chat to them, explain what you're about, and then they go, "Ah," and I'm like, "Well, I understand that." But also I go, well, there's got to be some people who are going to be the builders. You know, we're going to go build some bridges, and we're going to try and build the community. It's like, obviously it might work, might not work. But if you can make just that small change within someone's perception of life or how they, you know, I'm trying to see, because of all the fuck ups that we've made, then I go, well, if mistakes, then that's going to save you a good 2, 3, 4, 5 years out of your career or your music career, or even just of your life. Being at a, you know, being at a tangi, so, you know, being at a funeral for the last couple of days, it just makes me go, listen, I might be here on this earth for another 20 years, like maybe, but what am I going to do in the next 20 years? I could either go and try and just chill, relax, you know, and just go, okay, but I get bored of that, you know. But so why don't we just stay on the road, keep busy, keep releasing albums, singles, traveling the world, making people happy, because our music makes people happy. You know, that's been one of the best experiences for me, is that when you've got 40, 50, 60,000 people unified in one cause, and that's your music bringing together, you cannot beat that. You cannot beat that feeling. And it's like incredible. And you know, you can just, because you know that your music has touched that many lives, or it's just made a lot of people happy, it's fucking dope. And it becomes a drug, but it's a bloody good one. It's pretty cool. And I'm not addicted to it, but when you get that feeling after a while of not having done it, just being able to unify a crowd within just good vibes, it's a beautiful thing.
You do a fantastic job of it. I'm not gonna being able to spread love. You're right. It's a gift. And back to your previous question of, is it because we're extroverts? No, because there's a lot of extroverts out there who don't do what we do. And one of my mentors would say it's because every now and then you get people who are just unicorns. They're like, nobody quite understands them. Nobody quite gets it, and that's okay. They look at it, they respect it, they idolize it to a point, but they're inspired by it. But it's people like us that I think kind of, we're just, I don't know, people just don't understand it, and that's okay. That's okay, as long as, again, I feel as long as we're heart driven, that's that's all that matters.
Well, how can we normalize uniformism? That would be dope.
I think one of the things, valid. I think one of the things, and I started doing this last year when Superhero came out, was to do these superhero challenges, right? Like, say hello to 5 strangers, or compliment someone's shoes, and there's a lot of fear around it, I think, because especially if you're a 6-foot black man in America and you compliment a woman's shoes or whatever, you might get some weird looks. So it's both leading with love, but it's also giving yourself permission to work through your feelings of fear and come out of it with, oh, actually, those are just my biases that I'm that I need to learn and grow from. And the more we connect, the more opportunities there are going to be to overcome these biases, whether it's because you're tall or because, like in my case, because I'm short and have a weird accent, I'm scary. I get it. Okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's about challenging each other and with love.
But I'm a big believer in accepting people for who they are. I just go, listen, who am I to tell a person that no, you can't do that? What? Fuck, shut the fuck up. And so seems to, if for me, I think if in religion, for me, is like when people start judging, if a man loves a man, or if a girl loves a girl, or whoever, just love. There are no rules about love. You cannot tell a person or say you can't love that person. I find that's weird. It's like, hey guys, we don't know what's in people's hearts, but who the fuck are we to judge someone else on who they love? I just go, well, hey, I'm all right with you, and I'm going to accept you for who you are. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't matter who you sleep with or who you love or what color you are. You've got to be able to make a judgment on a person on their own merit. Of just you person face value. You go, okay, hello, how are you? That's when your relationship with that person should start. And that's the thing. I think that it's some things make us judgy as fuck. And I go, God, what makes, so you're going to be judgy as fuck and judge that person, but your religion tells you not to be judgy. So basically you're just mind fucking yourself into I'm better than you. What? We're not better than anyone. We're exactly the same. And I think that's the thing that we have to lose more in our lives, is that we are all created equal. And if we're all created in his image, well, I'm not religious, but I'm definitely a believer of that. You don't have to be religious to be a good person. Oh, so just because you're religious, you're a better person than me. Good on you, mate. All the best. Good luck. You know what I mean? And that's when people, I find, man, just let people do their own shit, whatever they believe in. Awesome. Congratulations. And be and accept it. And because from religion to religion to religion to religion, I have no problem with religion. I go, hey, listen, if that's you, awesome. you know, what can I say about it? Oh, you know, I would hate for someone to go, listen, Caps, you can't rap no more. What? You know, or listen, Caps, you can't go for a swim in the beach anymore. What? You know what I mean? It just seems most shit that people feel that they got the power to go say something to someone else and go, you can't do that. And like, who the fuck are you? You know, really, you know, and I understand within culture we have our, you know, our hierarchy within our cultures, and I go, yes, but I'm a grown man now. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And you're grown too, so you can do anything you want to, but more power, you know, to you. But if you're going to say something, be nice about it.
Yeah,
be empathetic.
I think one of the things that the pandemic again like has brought out, at least in my community, is the opportunity to really, you know, because it's all well and good saying these things to people, but you need to sort of show them, right? So literally, my white appearing housemate, I say white appearing because she's Hispanic, she will say all the time to me, well, she and I will go for walks all the time, and we literally, like, we live in a very, you know, DC is referred to as chocolate city, but gentrification is a thing. So we'll go around and we will just throw love out like it's going out of fashion by like saying hello to people and, you know, smiling and asking how people's days are and whatever. And little by little, it's been really interesting to see how now they're going around saying hello to each other.
Yes, that's a beautiful thing, Em, because how do you teach someone to, because if it's abnormal to someone, then they go, oh, no one ever says, you know, hello to me. And I understand, I go, cool. But if you introduce just a little bit more of more love, a little bit more compassion, then they go, hey, those two random girls walking past, they're pretty nice. Hey, maybe I should try and be more nicer, you know, like them, because they make me feel good. So if we're able to spread goodness from ourselves, and then it's able to affect others, and then they pass it on, we're like the Care Bears.
Right.
You know, just like old, what's the name was talking about? You know, the comedian Dave Chappelle was talking about the Care Bears. That's potentially be able to be. I don't know. There's so much negativity. There's so much death in this world, and because of COVID, so many more people, humans, have passed away because of just people not acting quickly. It's like, I don't know. I have to question some of these leaders' intentions, because just because they're all right. I said, yeah, but imagine if your grandma, you know, so, you know, it makes me wonder that how can you not empathize or work quicker or make things happen quicker for your whole country? Because a lot of people that I've spoken to have said, listen, when someone gets sick, you know, then that's when you action a lot quicker. So then I've got to go, well, has anyone of you know, of the presidents or whoever who are running countries, has their family got, you know, sick? Probably not, and that's why they haven't moved quicker.
Yeah, it's so complicated in this country, and there's so much misinformation going around that, you know, what can you do? I mean, like, all we can do is spread as much love and spread as much, you know, empowerment and stuff, and lead the change, I think, as we can in our small communities, not so small communities, whatever it is.
My question is to him is like, within the States, just talking about the States, how many people passed away? You know, that's probably shitloads.
That's a good question, right?
You know, I'd like to know that. And then how many people have passed away? And then, you know, we find out what the number is, and you just go, okay, who was the person responsible for that? To, you know, who was the person supposed to stop that? And then my question would go to, okay, if it was Trump, well, then I'd obviously go, well, if he let that many people die, well, would I want him again in you know, in office? I just the numbers. Fuck no, because he's an idiot, because he let that many people pass. And he's
535,000.
How many?
535,000.
Wow. And so there's a lot of people that will have family of those 535,000 people. So if they don't go and change something of you know, well, this dude let this, you know, pandemic or epidemic into our country, and he didn't act fast enough, well, why would I vote for him again? And I understand that we have our ties, and our family's always been this particular color. We could be with that particular party. But I go, well, if he let my cousin or my uncles, I mean, like in New York, there was like so many deaths in New York, and I was like going, wow. I would never vote for any guy that would let just whole cities get affected by, get people, 500, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people, and they all got family, they all got brothers and sisters, they all got aunties, uncles, and so there's a lot of people there should have gone, okay, straight away, oh, well, my cousin died because that thing happened in here, so let's not vote for the guy that let it in. That's just me.
No, I appreciate that. We've got like 6 minutes left, so real quick.
Yes.
One question is, what is your why?
My why is I was brought up in a loving household, and I've had really no reasons to worry or stress in my life. I'm very, very blessed. And my why is that if I can make people feel how I feel, or how I've been loved, or being able to share more understanding, and just going, hey, my why is to be able to give something back to the world, and when I leave, we've made a difference.
I love that. I love that. I love that. You're phenomenal. You're phenomenal. The second question is, what are you working on, and how can people, we know about you're doing the show about the basketball show, and you're doing a couple of podcasts and things, but what are you working on, and how can people get involved, watch, support you?
King Kapisi, King Kapisi is my rapping name, and so that's the rap side. Mr. Majesty is my reggae sort of name, so I've got a whole reggae album ready to go. I do a reggae show on Sunday, 4:20 p.m. I'm not sure what day that is, American time.
Yeah.
But every weekend, so it's a reggae platform that I just play reggae. So my wife is releasing her stuff. She's Tenemana Rap League. She's the first female rapper in our country. It's banging. Her music is banging. Our son, the elder son, 26-year-old, he's a producer. He's producing stuff. His name is Chef B, CHEF B, Chef B. And he's producing an album, and we're writing lyrics for that. So I've got like maybe 8 to 10 music videos on the go that I have to cut. We've got multiple albums ready to go. The live streams on King Kapisi Facebook page, also all my other platforms. We've got a lot on, Bob. So like, we're trying to serve the community over here. Yeah, and the main thing is we get out and give it a go. And because I've had 5 people I know in the last 3 months pass from heart attacks. So I'm
wow.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot of people. And so a couple, one from cancer. So it makes me go, I could either chill or go, just be more steadfast in my approach to what I'm trying to do, because like I said, if we've only got 15, 20 years on this earth left, what are we going to be able to do so we can make sure that we able to get those goals and achieve those goals?
You are sure, like 1000%, you're just an inspiration, King. Like, thank you so much for your time, for your aroha, for your very existence. You're very making me jealous. Everything is beautiful. You're beautiful. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to be kind, spread love like it's going out of fashion, be your own kind of superhero. Call your mum and check out King Kapisi and this beautiful Aotearoa landscape. Peace.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
You